Namaste, Namaste, Marcus here again, and we have a video today about how it's up to us, our lives, how they're lived, not anybody or anything else. And it's funny because, as usual, I was woken up early with a message which I had to write down, and it's often something quite obscure. I'll tell you what it was later, but basically, I think it was 1970, I was made aware of the fact that although astrology is very accurate for most people, each individual can raise above their sign. And what does that mean? It means that each person is not totally controlled by the events that must happen to them because of when they were born, because they can rise above it. And rising above it in which way? So, it's not easy to understand. But we can and do rule our own destiny. So, when we come into this lifetime, this is my belief, we as souls make some choices about what this body, this physical body, is going to learn in this lifetime to take back so that the soul becomes more complete. And when that soul is more complete, at the end of its journey it goes back to God and makes God more complete, because only God can be perfect. And it doesn't matter what word you use for God, what idea you have for God, it's the source of everything. Let's put it that way. So, how does it work? So there's different things going on here. When we're coming into this life, we make plans as a soul. And we choose this, that and the other to do, and this route to take, because we will learn and understand the lessons we need more by doing this than doing that. So choices are made. Now, sometimes these choices are affected by outside events, but the outside events don't normally cause too big a change. We, on the other hand, can make bigger changes. I'll tell you what it was that they gave me this morning. You may or may not know I do some ascension music, mostly rock and roll, with lyrics that are guided about what's happening in the world for us today. And when I'm recording, I often have to edit the tracks. And that's what they showed me this morning. They showed me a track with, if you like, a sine wave on, okay, with different levels. And what they showed me how each of us can adjust these patterns. Let's call them patterns. That's what they are. So we might as well call them that. So these patterns that are set when we're born, when we come into this world, these patterns that we have set for ourselves can be changed to some extent by us and us alone. Outside events can alter the way the pattern is lived, if you like. It can delay, it can fasten, it can make things happen that change things to a degree. But only we can actually change the actual pattern, the blueprint of our lives. How we do this is by editing each part of that pattern. So let's say one of the patterns is regarding one of the sine waves, one of the waves, one of the things we need to edit is regarding our beliefs. So let's say that we live a life where we decide that I believe that X is X and Y is Y, and they're never going to change. And then, of course, in life, we may have a belief at one point in time, but the wise man knows, or the wise person knows, that come another time in that life, our belief can change because of events that have happened to us. And it's those events that happen to us that help us make the changes in these waves, these patterns. And these events that happen to us change our way of being. I won't say thinking, because it's not thinking, it's actually being. How we understand things to be. So once we realise that things change, that X is X and Y is Y can change to X is nearly Y but nearly X at the same time, and Y is Y and nearly, once we understand that things can change, that there's a difference, we start to make changes in our understanding, in our higher mental aspect, if you like. And it's that higher mental aspect that understands that the changes will change those patterns. So that next time a thought or an idea occurs, the pattern reacts in a different way to what has happened. It's a bit complex, isn't it? It's not like me. I like simple. I keep telling people simple's best. So let's try and look at it in a simple way. I'll try and think of an analogy. So if we're writing a song, and I've got the violins here, and they're just at this level, and when I add another instrument here, I've added some cellos here, I notice that the violins no longer sound the same, because the cellos, the harmonies of the cellos with the violins changes the sound coming out from the violins now, because there's a harmonic going on with the cellos. I don't know whether that's the right technically the right way of saying it, but you can understand what I'm talking about. So I adjust the violins so that they're either higher or lower, or I adjust their frequency. When I say higher or lower, so that they're louder or softer. And I can also adjust the frequency so that they're a higher or lower tone, or higher or lower octave in the musical sense. And that's what we need to do in our adjustment. So that's an analogy you can think of. That's what I'm trying to put across. I'm not going to go into any more detail. I just found it fascinating and interesting. And I will look into this more and decide if I'm going to add to this video, or if I'm going to add another video, part 2, which I might do. But that's it really. So basically, in our lives, it's entirely up to us how we want things to work out. We can adjust the things that happen to us in our lives, and the things that are going to happen to us in our lives, by being in the flow. When you're in the flow, you're reacting and acting with whatever is happening at that moment in time. Because it's going back to being in the now, this, isn't it? It's the most important thing I've talked about, to be honest. And being in the flow is all about that. Is when you're acting and reacting to the flow, to the moment, you make the judgment about not what you're thinking about is going to happen in the future, but by what you are feeling at that moment in time. And it's that that adjusts these different patterns. That's how we do it, by being in that moment, being in with the flow, in harmony with the flow, not going against it. And it's quite a deep subject, this, so we don't want to get too complicated. But see if you can understand that from what I've just said. I think that's it for today. Anyway, there'll be more on this in the future. Probably a meditation as well. Namaste. Take care. Stay well. Stay healthy. Stay positive in these difficult and trying times at times. To be positive, because it's all going to change for us to live a better life, a happier life. We just have to realise that it will be soon. Things are changing. The truth is coming out. Next time.